Hello everyone, Make Me Mad Gaming here, and today we will be looking at the dark, disturbing, terrifying moments in Sega games. So for the month of October, I decided to do something special for the so-called spooky month by doing a video that I have wanted to do for quite a while, and one that I have not seen before. Is sort of be like in the style of an odd header video where creepy moments in video games that were never meant to be found, except these were just creepy moments in Sega games. So I've got a list of games here to look at, so let's not waste any time and let's jump right in. Let's start this all off with a true horror game made by Sega. And as much as I'd like to consider Project Diva a sadistic nightmare, we'll just have to go with the House of the Dead. The absolutely classic arcade shooter, House of the Dead sees you running through a mansion and pumping lead into all reanimated corpses you meet. You've got a whole wacky cast of zombies. You've got Sam, Samson, Gilmore, Harris, Cyril, and many, many more. Cyril actually appears in Wreck-It Ralph, so good for him. All in all, even though it's a creepy game with creepy noises, ghouls aplenty, and a spooky mansion, it's a fun time. Which is not something you think of when you hear scary game. Alright, next up is a game that Nintendo don't have. That sounded better in my head. Emergency Call Ambulance, an arcade racer by Sega, where your goal is to drive an ambulance to a hospital while the people in the back operate on the patient. It actually has a few dark moments. The first patient you're tasked with saving is a 10-year-old boy who was in a collision with a tanker truck. Okay, that's kind of dark. The second patient is a 38-year-old man who was shot by a gang with rocket launchers. Well, that escalated quickly. The third patient is a 23-year-old woman who was in a hotel as it was on fire. Also, she's pregnant. That fetus probably became a fine roast. The fourth and final patient is the president of a country who was on a jet plane right before it crashed into Lake Michigan after being struck down on lightning. On top of all of this, the game has a pretty grim game over sequence. As I said, your goal is to drive an ambulance while the people in the back operate. Well, if you don't drive well enough, the patient dies, giving you an instant game over without a single chance to continue, leaving you with a gut-wrenching feeling and a sense of failure. You know, like you want to be reminded that you just killed someone after playing a video game. Yeah. Up next, we have a similar game. Trauma Center is a series that most people forgot about, except for me! You play as a nurse, though your character changes through the games. Your role? Make sure the people don't die. What happens if they do die? What do you think? Sometimes you're removing glass from patients' chest, and other times you're removing tumors, and sometimes you're helping with suicide. Such is the case with Linda Reed, a patient with suicidal tendencies. After you fix her, she's given a pep talk, and she actually gains a new meaning of life. Well, that's all before her wounds reopen. Luckily, thanks to the main character of Derek Stiles and Angie Thompson, she's able to be treated on the spot, saving her life and filling her with hope. Now, all is right with Trauma Center. And then we get into Trauma Team! In Trauma Team, you got a whole new cast of characters. And aside from these beauties, you also got a new virus to deal with called Rosalie. A character named Sandra Lieberman is one of the main antagonists, and just as she's about to kamikaze herself after being cornered to be brought to justice, this happens. Good lord, this seems like something that should be in Doki Doki Literature Club, not Trauma Center by Sega! I mean Atlas! I got the script wrong. Who doesn't love a good Yakuza game? You got fighting, crime, karaoke, dancing, fishing, car racing, break dancing, this, and Goro Majima. So what's there not to love? Well, since there's some for everyone, there's some things for horror fanatics. In Yakuza Kiwami 2, in the quest titled Rising from the Shadows, Kiryu is given a supposed dirty video by some sleazeball in the streets. Happens to the best of us. Kiryu, being the smart yet airheaded guy he is, watches the tape. The tape shows a playground with a ghost of a woman suddenly staring at the screen. Kiryu then becomes cursed with the spirit of a woman, an obvious nod to the ring. An exorcist tells Kiryu to meet him with 100,000 yen, but on the way there, Kiryu encounters the spirit herself. After some tomfoolery in the Yakuza style, the exorcist reveals that he's a fake, mainly due to not wanting to deal with the actual ghost that stands right behind Kiryu. Right before the spirit is about to grab Kiryu, he accidentally drops the video, completely breaking the curse without even knowing it was real. Echo the Dolphin, the cute little Sega game from days past. You swim around the ocean as a little dolphin named Echo as a psionic echolocating power. Huh? He uses this to save his many trapped friends from the dangers of the deep sea. However, things are not as they seem. In the final area of Echo the Dolphin, you engage with this. This thing is lurking at the bottom of Echo the Dolphin. This queen of abomination has apparently been the one behind the capture of some of your friends. If I was Echo, I'd probably run. Massive props to Echo, though. He faces this Subnautica-looking monstrosity and kicks it back to the depths from whence she came. Now you may be thinking, oh man, this is starting to get good. And to that I respond, indeed! Alien Isolation, a horror game classic, as well as a Sega game. This game sees you going through a space station with a xenomorph, the alien from the movie Alien. Who would have guessed? He's sort of the nemesis of this game, since you deal with androids and facehuggers as well, but the xenomorph has cemented a place in the hearts of gamers for being an unkillable, terrifying monstrosity. Seriously, you cannot kill this thing. You can either run or scare it off. If you try to run, well, chances are it'll grab you before you even realize it's following you. Well, my friends, I hate to say it, but it looks like my time is running short. But there is one more game we can look at. We've seen monsters from the dark abyss, disturbing and unsettling diseases, zombies, aliens, ghosts, and dark backstories. And now, the big one. The most infamous one on this list that scared and traumatized thousands of children. I'm sure you already know what I'm talking about. If not, I won't spoil the surprise. In the game Sonic CD, once you beat the game, you gain access to a sound test. The sound test allows you to listen to game music and sounds. Who would have guessed? Some codes give you some special images, such as a Batman Sonic, a DJ Sonic, and an image of Tails with his sweet ride. But if you input the code FM number 46, PCM number 12, and DA number 25, you get this. Infinite Fun, Sega Enterprises, image by Majin. Accompanied by some very unsettling music, the screen is bewildering, unsettling, and creepy. Many theorize that Majin refers to the devil, meaning that this image was by the devil. However, that's not the case. Majin is the nickname of Masato Nishimura, one of the game's designers. This was one of his many Easter eggs he hid in the games he worked on, similar to Kazumi Totaka and his famous Totaka song. In the European and Japanese versions of Sonic CD, the screen is much more lighthearted, thanks to the terrifying music being switched to a goofy theme. But that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes this video of creepy moments in Sega games. I had a lot of fun writing this script, even if I had to rewrite it a couple times. Be sure to like and subscribe, and have a happy Halloween.